produced a long list of hit songs. Can you talk about a couple that bring back special memories?
I remember being at my father and mother's house, and my dad had this old electronic piano, and it had like strings, harps, organ sound, a mallet bell sound. I was going, I was playing these harps, and I thought to myself, no one has ever played harps on an R&B pop record, not like that. People have played harps like falling down, and, but no one's played it with a rhythmic sound. And I was like, I got something. And I ran downstairs and I laid it down in the basement, in my little studio in the basement. And it went from there to a song called The Boy Is Mine. That became a #1 record for over 13 weeks on all charts, sold over 3 million singles, won Grammys, you know. It became my first #1 record. I remember a time when I was in London and I was hanging out with the Spice Girls, and they took me to like some club in London, and I remember hearing music that over there was different, and I said, what's that called? And they were like, it's called two-step. I never forget, I got off the plane back home and I said, I'm gonna bring this to America, this sound. And so I did this track, and when I tell you it was the worst track I probably ever did, and I had a session with Destiny's Child that day, and they came in the studio and they heard this track, and they were like, they didn't like it. And I was like, you guys are crazy. This is that new sound. It's two-step. No one knows. You guys do this, you're out of here. And they were like, we don't like it. I said, well, just do me a favor, record the song. Fast forward to the mix down of the song. I walked in and my engineer was mixing it, and I said, do me a favor, take all the music out and let me just hear the vocals. And I listened to their vocals, and I realized that I had a great song with the wrong music. And so I redid the whole track, and that song was called Say My Name. And I won my first R&B Song of the Year with that, Grammy. You have to go in with an objective state of mind of don't be afraid to change something if it's wrong.
What is one of the craziest memories you've ever shared with an artist?
The person who probably got the most pranks out of me was probably Michael Jackson, because he was a prankster as well. Those were probably the funnest sessions I ever had in my whole career, working with him. There's also another time where I never forget, I had this blue convertible Bentley, and I called Michael up and I said, what are you doing? And he said, nothing. I said, come downstairs, I'm gonna pick you up. And this is in Manhattan. And he goes, let me call my security. I said, no. I said, just you, come outside. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, yes, you can, come outside. Came outside, he got in my car. I never forget, because there was a song by Eve and Blackstreet on the radio at the time on Hot 97, and we turned it on, and I took him for a ride down all through Manhattan. And, you know, I wanted him to see, like, even though there was a couple people who kind of like passed out on the streets because it was him, you know, in the convertible, but I wanted him to kind of feel like, you know, just feel like normal for that second. And he loved me for it. Like, he was just like, you know, at first he was scared. He was just like, somebody's gonna bum rush us, like, you know, but after, you know, we took that ride, he was loving it. We were in the car rocking, we had the music playing, and, you know, he appreciated it.
What is it like when you see star quality in a young artist?
It's amazing when you work with young artists that are on the verge to become superstars. I remember bumping into Brandy at a restaurant and telling her I wanted to work with her, and next thing you know, I'm in the studio with her. Her record sales went from like 2 million to 14 million with the record that I produced on it. And even in seeing it now, like, I got this young kid named Dylan Allen. He's young, he's like 13 years old, but he's not normal. It's something special. You just, you know, every time I see him perform, it's like, wow. He's doing stuff that people don't learn until they're like 19 or 20. His showmanship is just on another level. And, you know, I love that feeling of when you say, they got it. They got it.